right. So I'd like to introduce you all to today's speaker, Coyote. She is our board chair at Patagonia Area Resource Alliance. She has worked with the Forest Service in the past, so she is extremely knowledgeable about how all of this works, and she will be walking you through everything today. So go ahead, Coyote.
All right, well, welcome everyone, and good Saturday morning to you. We're going to fit this all into 45 minutes total, including the Q&A at the end. So I'm going to talk really fast. So the takeaways for you this morning, and if you're on the wrong flight, you can deplane at this time. But we're going to talk about an overview of the San Antonio proposal, learn about the Forest Service schedule of proposed actions, or SOPAs, understand why public comments are important, learn what to include in your comments, critical, be shown how to submit your comments online, have the opportunity to ask questions at the end, as we mentioned, and you'll receive a copy of a sample comment letter and tip sheet after the session, and receive a link to this recorded session so you can refer to it or share it as you like. All right, so what is the San Antonio project? The proposal was submitted to the Forest Service by IC Exploration, which is a subsidiary of Barksdale Incorporated, a Canadian mining company. The actual project area is 651 acres, and it's just east of Washington Camp and Duquesne, which is due south of where I live. They're proposing 5 exploratory drill holes, and they're looking for copper at a fairly shallow depth. Shallow compared to, say, the Hermosa project, which is going down 5,000 feet. They're proposing a 50-day total project timeline beginning next February 2021. They're proposing, or the proposal is for a categorical exclusion, which is the lowest level of analysis. And essentially, it's no analysis is needed because no environmental impact is expected, no significant environmental impact. How that can be with 651 acres in the project, I don't know. Okay, editorial comment. They're proposing to do operations just during daylight hours. They're proposing mitigation measures. The POO, Plan of Operations, talks about the equipment usage, etc. And the access route would be Duquesne Road from Highway 82. That would be northeast of, really east of Nogales. And if you're familiar with where the Duquesne Road comes into Highway 82, that's where the Little Red Schoolhouse is. We'll be talking more about that. So the plan of operations, you can see that and a bunch of other documents associated with the project on the Forest Service SOPA's website. And we'll be actually going to that page in just a little bit. But first, let me tell you what I found about the plan of operations that was bothersome. It omits a lot of important information and data, such as there is no mention of human habitation right across the road from the project area and the 5 drill sites. There is no mention of public safety issues, especially trucks and heavy equipment on the Duquesne Road. If you've ever driven the Duquesne Road from the Harshaw Road over the mountain to Highway 82 or the reverse, you realize pretty quickly that it is a very windy mountain road, unimproved in places, very narrow. In many places, it's only 1 lane, and there is many hundreds of feet drop off on one side and many hundreds of feet of almost vertical bouldery cliffs on the other side. So if you meet a vehicle coming the opposite way, sometimes there's no place to go. It can get pretty hairy. And so the trucks and equipment would turn from Highway 82, coming out of Nogales, we presume, right where the Little Red Schoolhouse is. That is an elementary school, and so these heavy trucks and equipment would be going right by the school. Parking is on the other side of the road, so frequently kids and parents and teachers and staff are crossing the road right there. There's no mention of that in the POO. It's a huge concern for all of us that are worried about children getting smushed. The Border Patrol vehicles use the Duquesne Road frequently, and they're often going at high speeds. Residents, ranchers, recreationists, and visitors use the Duquesne Road and the side roads, and there's no mention of hazards to them. In the POO, they use old, outdated surveys and research data regarding endangered species, cultural and anthropological resources. So the inclusion of recent endangered species data is particularly critical and will provide the basis for moving the project from a categorical exclusion to an environmental assessment. An environmental assessment requires a lot more surveying to be done, more on-the-ground research. It takes a lot more time and costs the proposing mining company a lot more money. So that is what I personally, and Para is hoping we can do with our comments, is to move the proposal from a categorical exclusion to an environmental assessment. There is also in the POO, there is no data on total water usage. They say in the POO that the water would come from Keno Springs. There's no mention of whether Keno Springs knows about this or how much water the total that the project might use. So that's a concern. Folks that live in the area are concerned about drawdown of their personal wells. If, for instance, a drill hole hits an aquifer and a bunch of water spews out, you know, thousands of gallons, it could cause what's called a cone of depression at that drill site. And so the water for sometimes, you know, hundreds of yards around or even more can be drawn down with it. So people's wells could be affected. So folks that live in the area are very concerned about that. Now, I'm going to go back to endangered species because with categorical exclusion, in order to shift it from a CE to an EA, there have to be what are called extraordinary circumstances. And in this case, the extraordinary circumstance, because this is all under NEPA, the National Environmental Policy Act, endangered species present on the project site are the key piece that can move the project from a CE to an EA. Okay, so so this is your chance to have your voice heard by the U.S. Forest Service. They're the managing agency. So in your comment letter, you can request that the Forest Service require an EA rather than a CE. All substantive comments count and can affect the Forest Service's decision on the proposal. So again, extraordinary circumstances, and in this case, the endangered species that is in question and present on the project site are yellow-billed cuckoos. They are a federally endangered species. Defenders of Wildlife has been partnering with PARA, Tucson Audubon, and a number of other agencies are contributing to an organizational comment letter, which we will all sign on to when it's in final. And it is focusing very much on the fact that the POO, the Plan of Operations, uses old research and survey data. They do not include the POO. We love that acronym. The POO does not include recent studies. In fact, and I'm just going to bounce back to a different species, the Sonoran tiger salamander is also a federally endangered species that may be present in the project area. There are recent surveys that show them as being very close to the project area. I'm upland and north of the project area, and I have at least one Sonoran tiger salamander in my pond. So if they're here in my little bitty pond, I think, anyway, as a citizen scientist, that they could certainly be just about anywhere where there's standing water. So, so again, the yellow-billed cuckoo. Oh, back to the salamander though, quickly. The data that they use in the POO for the salamander is from 2002 from Fish and Wildlife Service. There is a 2017 survey that the State Game and Fish did on the salamander. And so that needs to be included in the POO. With the yellow-billed cuckoo, again, old data with most of the species mentioned in the, including jaguar, ocelot, Mexican spotted owl, I'm trying to think what the other, and not sure Gila top minnow is in there, but oh, Mexican garter snake. Old data, old surveys are cited rather than recent surveys. There has been no recent archaeological and cultural resource survey done. I have toured the site and found stuff that sure looked like it could have been cultural resources to me. So a current survey needs to be done of those kinds of things as well. But again, focusing on the federally endangered species that we know, and we have data on eBird and Tucson Audubon's recent study, we know that bird to be extant and probably nesting in the project area. So that's the extraordinary circumstance that you'll want to mention in your comment letter. You can find relevant documents on the yellow-billed cuckoo and on the Sonoran tiger salamander on PARA's website if you want to get the most recent survey data information that we have managed to acquire. So again, comments need to be salient based on facts and science rather than emotions and conjecture. They must address the current proposal and should not contain anything about future proposals or possibilities, such as an open pit copper mine in a beautiful area of the Sky Islands. Another editorial comment for you. So being specific about your concerns in your comments. Although no mining or I hate mining is certainly a comment, the Forest Service can only address impacts associated with the proposed exploratory drilling at this time. You can ask questions in your comments. And questions that require an answer rather than a yes or no. It's nice to have an open-ended question that requires an answer with data or dates or whatever. So rather than just making statements, you can also ask questions and make suggestions. In the case of my letter, my suggestion, my request is going to be, first and foremost, that the Forest Service shift the categorization of this project from a categorical exclusion to an environmental assessment. So in my letter, I'm opening with that request and I'm closing the letter with that request, because that's what we want them to do. Okay, need that to be very clear. So it's good to put your concerns in your own words. We will be providing a sample comment letter for you to use if you want. You can cut and paste. You can rearrange if it's helpful to you, rather than making a letter from scratch. If you want to make a letter from scratch or do your comments from scratch online, which we're going to do next, you can do that too. So I'm going to share my screen. First, I'm going to find what I need here. Gotta find the Forest Service. There we are. Okay, back to Zoom and back to share screen. Okay, hello, share. Okay, now you should be able to see my computer screen, yes?
Yep, I can see your screen.
Great. Up in the corner, upper left-hand corner says U.S. Forest Service. So I am on this Forest Service schedule of proposed actions for the Coronado National Forest, which is what surrounds us here. And this is the main website for the SOPA's schedule of proposed actions for the entire Coronado National Forest. So what you do to get the current SOPA report is click on this link right here. Takes a moment to load usually. Oh, it's Saturday. Oh, I hope they're not doing computer updating over the weekend. Oh, goody. Okay, there it is. All right, so this is the SOPA spreadsheet. And here, this part of the mountains, and most of the Patagonias actually, are on the Sierra Vista Ranger District. So I'm going to click on that, which is down toward the bottom of the spreadsheet. And here you can see the San Antonio Exploration Drilling Project, CE. That's categorical exclusion again. All right, then in here, it gives a brief explanation.
Is anybody else not seeing that?
I only see the original Forest Service page.
Yeah, Coyote, I think you're.
I'm just seeing your first screen. We're not seeing your screen.
Oh,
So, I saw the first page.
Okay. It says your screen sharing.
And try stop sharing and then restart. That usually helps.
Oh, stop sharing. Okay.
Okay. Let's try this. Now, can you see the spreadsheet?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to click on the web link. So if I have to stop and start again to get us there, that's what I'll do.
Coyote, can you just show us how you got there from that first screen? Is it October through December 2020? Is that what we're clicking?
Yes. Well, you want to click on the current SOPA.
Oh, okay. I got it. Thank you. Sorry, everyone.
There's a URL for the current SOPA. Okay, can you see what says the San Antonio Exploration Drilling Project across the top now? Yes?
No, you're still on the
It's
spreadsheet.
rats. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop and start again. All right, try this. Maybe I need to close the prior screen before going, or right after going to the next one. Okay, can you now see the drilling project?
Yes.
Great, okay, yay. So this is where you find all of the documents for the project. The biggest one, of course, is the top one, the plan of operations. It's 113 lovely pages, and includes, yeah, and includes most of the rest of this stuff actually. So you can go to these different exhibits and see them, like the local roads and drill areas map. That's pretty interesting, shows where the 5 drill pads would be. But it's the POO that particularly that we're responding to with our comments. So to comment online, which is really easy peasy, I'm going to show you how to do that. Over on the right-hand side under the bar Get Connected, there is comment/object on project. You see that? Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to click on that, and it may be the start thing again. All right. Can you see? You can see it where it says commenting on this project?
Yes.
Ah, fantastic. Okay. So this is how you do it online. And again, it's pretty darn easy. Put your name in. If you've got the automatic fill thing going on, that is pretty groovy. Makes it easy. And the state, well, it didn't fill the state in for me. Okay, so there is my, there's my stuff. And since I have already written up a letter in a Word document, can be Word, PDF, I think there are other word processing software types that it takes. But in this case, since I've already written the thing up, I'm going to choose file. I'll do that in just a moment. If you'd rather just type in your comments to the letter text, you can do it right here. And I'm not sure how much file space you have in this box. It's not just this. It will, if you keep typing, it will keep expanding. So you can type your comments directly in here, or as I'm going to do, choose file and go to my, I'm not going to upload the comment on ladies' tea. I am going to come, where's my letter? There it is. Okay. And choose the file. Looks like it has uploaded. All right. And I'm going to then click on I'm not a robot. And then when you're sure your file is there, your letter is there, you click on submit, which I'm not going to do today because I still have a little bit more I want to put into my letter. But that's how you do it. It's pretty darn easy. And then you get a confirmation via email that you have submitted a comment to the Forest Service on the date and time.
I have a question about that. That's what I did for the, what it was, a Sunnyside drilling comments. I just had a document on my computer and then I copied it and put it on right into that text box.
Oh, that's doable too.
But maybe it never got to them. I don't know.
Here's how you can check.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go back to, okay. Back to the project page. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Again, on the right-hand side, there is the public comment / objection reading room.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
So you can go in there and see who all has commented, submitted comments on this project, and check it out. There are a lot of them already.
Wow.
22 comments have been submitted thus far.
That's
There
great.
are some, yeah, there are some duplicates apparently, but that can be okay. So this is where your comments, my comments, and the comments submitted by the organizations will show up. And here's this one, an organization, the Greater Vale Chamber of Commerce. So if you want to see what this person submitted, you click on the name, and there's a letter. Oh, he fully supports the proposed action. Okay,
Wow.
you can do that too.
Mhm.
All right, so that's how you see it, if your comment has made it to the comment box, and you can review what everyone has said. Okay,
Thank you.
makes
Yes.
sense?
Yes.
Pretty easy?
Thank you. Mhm.
All right, all right. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And you will get a copy of the, again, the tip sheet will have that link to the Forest Service SOPAs, okay? Oh, I am going to share my screen again because I also have, if you'd like to see the, you can either find it on that SOPA's website, or you can find it on the tip sheet, or if you like, I can show it to you on my screen right now. And that is where you send hard copy surface mail letters. Does anybody need that address? No? No? Okay. Hearing none,
Yeah,
I will.
yeah. Coyote.
Yes.
What
Yes.
address is? This is Alex.
Okay. Alex, hi. It's
Hi.
Sierra. Hey, Sierra Vista Ranger District.
Yep.
District Ranger, care of Rick Goshen, Goshen.
Yep.
4070 South Avenida, Saracino, Saracino.
SARACENO.
Avenida Saracino, Saracino.
Okay.
Hereford,
Uh-huh.
Hereford, Arizona, 85615.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think it's always
Yeah.
great for them to have a real piece of paper in their hands.
Indeed, and you know, with the mail issues, it's good to send it in quite a bit early if you can.
Oh, yeah.
Also, on the outside of your envelope, they would like you to print San Antonio exploration drilling.
Uh-huh. And what is the what's the deadline?
October 19th.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, so again, we'll be sharing a sample comment letter. We will be sharing the link to this recording so you can review it if you like. And in the tip sheet, you'll also be getting, again, is the is the link to the SOPAs and where you can comment online. It also includes the address that I just read off for surface mail. Okay, and again, there will be documents posted on PARA's website that you can access if you want to read more about the yellow-billed cuckoo, about the Sonoran tiger salamander, and about Barksdale, the company and the proposal. And of course, other proposals and activities that are going on around this region.
We'll also
So now, yes.
send those documents out in the follow-up email to this event with the recording. So that way you have links to those, but we'll also be adding them to the PARA website on Monday. So if you need them.
Yes, all attendees will receive an email after this with those links.
Oh, good.
So you don't have to hunt for that stuff. Okay. All right, now it's 10:33 on my clock. So we have about 12 minutes for questions and answers.
All right.
And if we don't have an answer, we will get back to you. Anna?
We do have one question already from Paula. And then anybody else that has questions, feel free to just jump in after this. But Paula asks, would it be good to send hard copy with CC to senators and US representatives?
Doesn't hurt. Does not hurt. We do know that Raul Grijalva is very much aware of this proposal. So CCing his office is certainly a good idea. He's our representative, you know, for this district. So, so yeah, it doesn't hurt to make sure your political representatives know what's going on.
All right.
Am I remembering correctly that there are 3 categories for SOPAs? There's a categorical exclusion. There's an environmental assessment. Isn't there a 3rd one as well? And is that higher or lower than the environmental assessment?
Higher.
Okay.
It's a much more in-depth survey. It is called an environmental impact statement, or EIS. Those can sometimes take a couple of years to accomplish. They're very expensive. It would be very unlikely for the Forest Service to require one of this particular project because it is just 5 exploratory drill holes. If they were proposing to just go right in with a giant bulldozer and put in an open pit mine, then yes, we would probably be able to move it to an EIS, I would hope. But for this scale of proposal, an environmental assessment would be probably the most we could hope for.
Okay.
Coyote, I had a question. In terms of the sample letter, I know with other like federal commentary periods, like I've done one recently for the DOJ on an immigration proposal, and they recommended altering, like not using too much of the form letter, because if they see multiple letters that more or less have the same content, they'll bundle them and we'll address them almost as one comment as opposed to individual comments. Is that the case? Like how individualized does the comment need to be compared with the sample letter?
As individualized as you can make it, so it does appear to be your own words. So, you know, changing the order of the paragraphs in the sample letter can be helpful. Yeah, changing some of the wording, adding your own questions, your own statements, your own personal requests, like, hey, what about traffic on the project associated roads? How is my use of those roads going to be impacted? What about safety on the project site? In the sample, or on the tip sheet, I should say, there's a whole list of more personal types of questions that might give you some inspiration for including your own wording.
Thanks.
Coyote?
Yes.
I understand the concerns using Duquesne Road by the Red Schoolhouse, but is it better to focus on the environmental issues that you mentioned? Because I assume there are other ways to get to this project site, or am I wrong? And this is the only way in and out of there? Because I hate to do it.
It isn't the only way. Yeah, and the environmental issues, unfortunately, don't really include the human environment issues. So focusing on the yellow-billed cuckoo is the key point to make, because this is under NEPA, again, the National Environmental Policy Act. And there are other routes. They could go through Patagonia, through the town of Patagonia to the Harshaw Road and all the way out the Harshaw Road, because it does, that's actually the road that you're on to the main access side road that goes into the project. The Duquesne Road comes over the mountain, over Mount Washington from the west, comes over and then joins up with and becomes the same as the Harshaw Road. And then you go south a little bit and then there is an entrance road, a side road that goes down into the project from actually the Harshaw Road on your way to Lochiel. So so there are other routes that could be used, but coming from Nogales, which is apparently where they would be staging or having their equipment staged, and Keno Springs is over there. That's where the water would be coming from for the drilling. It's the most direct route to use the Duquesne Road.
And I guess that helps me out. I guess what I was trying to get to, I'd hate to deflect this road access to another access road and cause impacts to other folks. So I think I would focus on the environmental and archaeological and other cultural issues you brought up. And while safety is a concern, safety pretty much from every road is an issue, isn't it?
Certainly. And there, as again, in the POO, they don't address the safety issues. They don't address the traffic issues. And again, where the Harshaw and Duquesne roads come together and become one, there's a lot of traffic on that road. And there is no mention of traffic coming in from the Harshaw Road, no mention of impacts on the land to, if you read the POO, it very much minimizes the physical impact of big trucks and like lowboys dragging drill rigs and stuff like that in this pretty pristine area. If you have a chance to go down there and you have a four-wheel drive with good clearance, you can go in there and drive the route that they're proposing to use to access these drill sites. It is absolutely gorgeous. There are meadows, open meadows with great big, huge oak trees. And that is why we are sure, and we are sure, that there are yellow-billed cuckoo accessing that area and probably nesting there because of these giant oak trees. Also lots of big junipers, and it's just gorgeous. And so if you can't, I've not been down there before. It's fabulously gorgeous. I think it should be a state park at the very least because it's so pretty. And very rare to see that kind of an area here in the Patagonia Mountains and so close to Mexico especially. It does, the wash that they will be driving through goes down toward Lochiel, and people that were born and raised in Lochiel say that wash is a place you can walk through and still find cultural and historic and archaeological artifacts. So again, that's another aspect that you can include in your comments. The cultural, archaeological, and historic resources are haven't been recently surveyed. But again, it's the environmental piece. It's the endangered species, yellow-billed cuckoo in particular, that is the extraordinary circumstance that will hopefully shift this proposal from a categorical exclusion to an environmental assessment. Again, the deadline for comments is October 19th, and it's good to get them in sooner rather than later. Does anybody have any additional questions before we close?
I just have a quick question. When they say the water is coming from Keno Springs, are they trucking it in across Duquesne? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So there would be sizable water trucks going back and forth on the Duquesne Road. I don't know, again, if Keno Springs has been alerted to the fact that water would be taken from their water sources there. I don't know if the school, for instance, at Little Red has been contacted about the safety issues. Those are questions to ask the Forest Service to get answers. So we have 1 minute left in our training session. Any other questions before we close? Okay, so to wrap up, thank you everyone for being part of this session, being willing to write the comments, for caring about this amazing, beautiful, unique, and incredibly diverse bioregion. Next month, there's an anticipated comment period to the state agencies on South 32's a significant amendment to its aquifer protection permit. So PARA will be releasing information about that next month when the comment period comes out.